Good morning, everyone. So, today I am going to start the other important topic, that is measures of dispersion. So, previously we discussed the measures of the central tendency like mean, median, and mode, in which we knew how to find the average or the central value. But if we see in depth, central value not always give the correct picture about how the data is scattered or spread. So, we need the better measure. So we need the better measure, and that measure is the dispersion. Dispersion to know how the data is spread from average. So simply if we want to clarify the meaning of the dispersion, dispersion is the distance or the difference from the average value. So the deviation or the variation of the value from the average is called the dispersion or the variation. It is one important feature of the frequency distribution which describes the variation of the data around the central value. To understand it better, look at this observation. As during the first example, the data is like 69, 70 and 71, and when we try to find the mean of these, it is 70. Now look at the second example, data is like 20, 50 and 80. Again mean is 70, but the figures are quite away from the mean in the second example. Okay, if we talk regarding the first example, if we consider these are the just marks obtained by the different students. So number of students are getting the marks near about 69, 68, 67 and 71, 72 or 73. So the main values or the marks lies around the mean value or the central value. But during the second example, whether the mean is 70, but the marks obtained by the different students are quite away from the mean. Like if one is getting the 20, other is getting the 80. Okay. So these measures of the dispersion helps to give the information regarding how much data is scattered from the mean value. To illustrate better, look at this picture. Like this picture is showing two types of the series. Like in the data A, again we are considering these are the marks obtained by the various student out of 50. You can see, like in the first data, these are near 10, 11, 20, 22, 24. Marks are not widely spread. Okay, but in the data B, it is 2, 9, 24, 26 or the 40. If one is getting 2, the other student gets 40 marks. So when we try to draw the frequency distribution curve in the series A, the data lies near the mean value. So it will be like this. But in the series B, the data is widely scattered. So if this is the mean value, data is scattered away. So the measures which gives the information how much the data is scattered or spread away is known as the measures of dispersion. Now next move to the objective of the dispersion. First objective is it helps to determine the reliability of the mean. Okay, how it helps to find out the reliability? A higher value of the dispersion shows that average is not a good representative. Okay, if we are calculating the measures of dispersion mathematically and the value is too high, very high, it shows the average value. That mean we already find out that is not a good representative and it is not that much reliable. Okay. It helps to compare the two or more series with regard to their variability. As we talked previously, it helps to compare the two series and gives the information regarding the variability. Okay, then it helps to find the uniformity and the variation in the data. Okay, So what does it mean? Uniformity, how much data is lying close to each other, not widely spread, near to each other. That means uniformity. And variation, how much data is scattered away from one another. Okay, both are inversely proportional to each other. If uniformity will be high, variation will be less. If variation will be high, uniformity will be less. And next, all above points help to illustrate that it measures the degree of the inequality in the given observation, given value, given data. Okay. So next we will talk regarding the properties of the good measure of dispersion. How we can say this measure is the good measure of dispersion. So any measure which should be easy to compute and based on each item, means number of observations are there and it include all the observation, it is based on all the observation, then we can say it is the good measure of dispersion. Beside that, it should be simple to understand and it should not be affected by the extreme values. Extreme values means the lowest and the highest values are not affecting it, not making the more fluctuation. So in this way we can say these are the properties of the good measure of dispersion. Now we will divide the measures of dispersion into two types. One is the absolute measure of dispersion and on the other side there is a relative measure of dispersion. If we talk regarding the absolute measure of dispersion, it always expresses the variation in the original statistical unit. Okay, how much is the variation? Like we found the one employee is getting the salary 10,000. Okay, and then he was promoted and got the salary 12,000. So how much variation is there? 2,000. So it measures or it expresses the dispersion as it is in the original statistical unit. On the other side, when we talk regarding the relative measure of dispersion, it always expresses the dispersion in form of the degree, like percentage or in the ratio. So same thing if we talk regarding if the one is getting the salary 10,000 and promoted and got the salary 12,000, so how much variation is there? Here or 20%. So one measure gives the information in the original statistical unit and the other measure gives the information in terms of degree, like percentage or the ratio. So next difference is if different data is in the different statistical unit, then comparison between the series of data is not possible. Like the units are totally different, then the comparison is not possible. But when we want to compare it in terms of the percentage or the ratio, then it is possible. So next, absolute measure of dispersion are always expressed in units of the variables. Like if the variables are in form of the kilogram or the rupees, centimeters, so it will be always expressed in terms of the that units. But on the other hand, relative measures do not have any units. It is always measured in form of the degree, like percentage or the ratio. So sometimes the relative measures of dispersion are also called the coefficients of dispersion. And absolute measures of dispersions are not independent units of measurement, but relative measures of dispersion are always pure and the independent units of measurement. So next we will see what are the absolute measures of dispersion and what are the relative measures of dispersion. Under the absolute measures we have range, quartile deviation, mean deviation and standard deviation and variance. And under the relative measures of dispersion we have the same one, but we calculate the coefficient of range, coefficient of the quartile deviation, coefficient of mean deviation, coefficient of standard deviation and coefficient of variation. So relative measures of dispersions are not given in your nursing syllabus. we have only absolute measures of dispersion under your syllabus, like range, quartile deviation and standard deviation. So we will discuss these three. So skipping the mean deviation also, we will discuss the range and quartile deviation and standard deviation. So starting with the range, range is the one simplest method of measurement of dispersion. And how we calculate the range? Range is always calculated by taking the differences between the largest and the smallest item in a given distribution. We have a set of observation and we will calculate the range from the largest and the smallest item. Means range is equal to the largest item in the given distribution minus smallest item. Just look at the example. We have these observations like 73, 79, 84, 87, 88, 91, 94. This data is already in a order. If it is not in order, you have to arrange it either in ascending or the descending order. Once it's arranged, then subtract the smallest number from the highest one. So which is the highest one? That is the 94. Which is the lowest one? That is the 73. So we calculated the range, that is 21. So 21 is our range. So same we can proceed for the discrete class as well as for the continuous class. And in discrete class, we have to ignore the frequency. Just take which is the highest class and which is the lowest class. Subtract it and get your range. And regarding the continuous series, we, as you know, we have the class intervals along with the frequency. So if we find out the overall range is the 50 minus 10, that is 40. But if we want to find out the class range, then 20 minus 10. We will not consider the frequency, we will only consider the intervals. Okay, so if we find out the overall range, then you just see which is the highest value and which is the lowest one. If you find out the range between the classes or between the group, then it will be 20 minus 10. So in this way we can calculate the range. So what are the different merits of the range? It is very easy to calculate, simple to understand. No special knowledge is required while calculating the range, and it takes least time for the computation. Then it gives the broad picture of the data. Just you look at the data, it gives the broad picture about the data, that how much dispersion is there. So regarding the demerits, it is the crude measure because it is only based on two extreme items. We are taking the highest one and other is the lowest one. So then what about the other values? So we cannot consider the range as a good measure of dispersion, because as we studied the property, it should be based on all the item. Range is significantly affected by the fluctuation of the sampling. That is, it varies widely from the sample to sample. So next is quartile deviation. First of all, you must know what is the meaning of the quartile. Quartile means which divide the series in equal 4 parts. Okay, we already talked regarding the median. Actually, quartile is also based upon the median. Median divides the whole series, the whole observation into 2 equal parts. Okay, but quartile means it divides the series into the equal 4 parts. So first of all, we will find the median. Median is 5.5. So median divide the observation into the 50-50, and quartile deviation divide the observation into the 25%, 25, 25 and 25. So this will be our Q1, this will be Q2, this will be Q3. Okay. So quartile deviation always eliminate the lowest 25% and the highest 25%. It considered only the middle 50% values. So it indicate at which extent central 50% items are dispersed. So it is neglecting the lowest 25% and the highest 25%, just considering the central 50% items. So now move to the definition. What is the quartile deviation? It is the product of the half of the differences between the upper and the lower quartile. Okay, mathematically how we can represent it? Upper quartile, that was the Q3, then the lower quartile divided by 2. Half of the differences between which? The upper and the lower quartile. So that is known as the quartile deviation. So this is the main formula, Q3 minus Q1 divided by 2. Okay. Now first of all we need to calculate the Q3 and Q1. Okay. Here I am going to take an example, like we have given the observation 21, 22, 24, 25, again 25, 27, 29. First of all, you should arrange the data in the ascending or descending order if it is not in order. Okay. Now the formula to calculate the Q1, that is the n plus 1th observation divided by 4th. Okay. So how many observation we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 plus 1 over 4th observation. So 8 divided by 4. So we will get the second observation. And the formula to calculate the Q3, that is 3 into n plus 1th divided by 4th. Again 3, we already calculated this one, n plus 1th divided by 4, that is the second. So answer will be the 6th. So next apply the formula for the quartile deviation, that is Q3 minus Q1 divided by 2. So Q3 is the 6th observation. So look in the series, the 6th observation is the 27 and Q1 is the second observation, that is 22. So 27 minus 22 divided by 2 is equal to 2.5. So 2.5 is our quartile deviation. So next few points regarding the merits and the demerits of the quartile deviation. Merits are, it is very easy to calculate, it is simple to understand, it is less affected by the extreme value. Okay, so we can say it is superior than range. It is more useful when we are calculating the dispersion of the middle 50% values. So at that time it is very useful. Regarding the demerits, it is not based on all the observation because we are considering only central 50% observation. It is affected considerably by the fluctuation of the sampling, and we can't say it is much reliable measure of the dispersion because it ignores the 50% observation, as it is based on the middle 50% observation, neglecting the upper and the lower 25% observations. So this is the end of the today's class. We discussed the range and the quartile deviation. In our next class, we will focus on the standard deviation.